What's all the PMS with Coach G? It's positively motivating sisters with purpose, meaning, style. Are you ready for positive conversations inspiring you to your next level? Do you need motivation to get you growing? Are you a sister, woman, leader, boss, mom, wife, female, her, she? I think you know what I mean. Are you seeking purpose in your life? Do you know the meaning for which you stand? Do you know your style is your unique authenticator? If you answered yes to any one of these questions, this podcast is designed with you in mind, which embodies the whole you mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually. Sisters, we are on a journey in connecting you from where you are to your what's next with purpose, meaning, style, and it all starts with you. Hi, this is Coach G, your Chief PMS cheerleader, motivating and empowering you to win in your personal and professional life. Your connector, guiding you and bridging the gap from where you are to your what's next. I am your leadership and growth coach strategist, empowerment speaker, best-selling author, mom, wife, Christian, and I get to serve you in doing what I am passionate about. You, sisters, we are on a journey for you living your life on purpose, for purpose, with purpose, meaning, style. Thank you as you continue to show up in supporting this show, listening, sharing, following, commenting, and liking this podcast. I promise you it carries weight. And let me remind you, you can also support the show with a monetary contribution as we consistently show up in empowering you and other women on your personal and professional growth journey through education, inspiration, and elevation. All you have to do is go to the show description, touch the link, support the show, and make your contribution, which speaks volumes in saying you stand in support of blessing this podcast so we can keep growing through the conversations we have here in this space. We are in episode 99, Overcoming the Barriers to Success with Kolleen Chesley. Yes, this is part two. If you did not hear part one last week, go back and listen to it now. Then come back and listen to episode 99 because you know what? Now we're bringing it all together. And as you get to listen to part two conversation, I want you to know that she has truly poured into this community. And so, thank you. Now, go ahead and let's listen to the last two pillars that she wanted to share. So, okay, Colleen, keep
Yeah.
going.
All right. You ready for number three?
Yes, we are.
Woo. Now, if this one didn't get deep, this is the one that gets really deep. So this is a tough one. So this one I called the giver's pillar. And the giver's pillar says that women struggle in business because mean girls are still real. Yeah, it's so true.
Give me a moment. Give me a moment. You know, you make me think about the Mean Girls movie.
Yeah, I know. I know. Very timely, right? Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, and so the Mean Girls movie is an example of that. We know what a mean girl looks like. We know sometimes we've been that mean girl. But the mean girl I'm really talking about, and sometimes it is. Sometimes it is that woman over there that is causing problems for other women, that is maybe behaving in a toxic way, or is not being collaborative, or is being too competitive. There's lots of ways that women can showcase being mean girls. But I'm also talking about the mean girl we are to ourselves. That's probably the biggest mean girl I know in my life and probably in lots of other women's lives. So sometimes when we're not our own authentic self, sometimes when we treat ourselves differently than we would treat our friends, then we're being that mean girl to
Ooh,
ourselves. And that really, really is tough. And I believe that mean girl fights against me more than any of my enemies ever would.
mm,
That mean girl is the toughest. And to me, the way to overcome that mean girl syndrome is to really create deep relationships that are both business but also personal. And again, those relationships need to be authentic. They need to be vulnerable. They need to be courageous. because that's also how mean girls don't survive. Mean girls don't survive when we decide we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to have boundaries. We're going to have expectations in our life about what we will allow and what we won't. And sometimes that starts with ourselves
Yeah.
as well.
Okay. I you got me speechless on that one. So, you did it was a twist. It's not even what I thought. See, I had already framed my thought about it. Which proves your point about giver, really, even for me, I thought, just treating others, we say treat others the way you want to be treated.
Mhm.
Even if I don't know you, how would I want to be treated? I think even another part that came to me is that inclusion. How do we include everyone? One thing I love, because I have a boardroom with Coach G, and I invite, it's a member non-member thing that I invite women leaders into. And it's like, you know what? We get to be in this room at the table together, growing together, nurturing in a safe space together. And that's how relationships can, I'm going to say, be enriched, um, because you come into a space where, again, I said, take the mask off, all these things that we're talking about, because
Mhm.
just because I don't know you, let me get to know you. Let me understand you. And I have to seek to understand people, and not just because we don't look alike, or we're not from the same background. There's no way we could know. There's always something that we can come to a common ground to nurture and deepen our relationship. And I just believe that. I really do. So, yeah, that's a
Mhm.
good one too, Colleen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, take us
That's a
to
good
number
one.
4.
Yeah. So number four kind of final, kind of rounds it out. So I always called number one and number four the cornerstone pillars. So those are the two that, like, if we could really tackle those two, then the other two in between would be no problem, because the other two really feed off of those cornerstone pillars. So the fourth pillar is called the community pillar. And the community pillar is important because it talks about women struggle in business because it's lonely in leadership. A lot of women, the majority of LLCs, the majority of micro small businesses, sole proprietorships, the majority of them are women. And women typically start smaller businesses, and they typically are the only employee for longer than male owned businesses. So a lot of times we're wearing, I know you called it shoes, and I absolutely love that because we women love lots of shoes, don't we? Um, but we're wearing tons of different shoes when we're the everything. And sometimes the CEO can be that chief officer of everything title. And that's what a lot of women are in business. And even if they're not the only one in business, sometimes it can be very lonely in leadership. When I was a financial advisor, I was in a male dominated industry. I was one of the only women in our firm, much as less one of the only women in leadership. That's
Mm,
extremely limiting and extremely lonely. So my biggest advocate for the community part is to join communities, be involved with diverse communities, and welcome other women to those communities. If you look around the room and you're the only woman there, the best thing you can do is bring more women, because women together can have a unified front and they can help support each other. When one woman is alone, a lot of times what happens is that woman, I call it the law of evenness. So, like, if all women are in a playing field and one woman rises above, typically what's going to happen is is that woman, if she's strong enough, she'll bring that whole community up to where she is. If she's not strong enough, that community will pull her back down. It's
yeah.
very different in
Wow.
women in business, I see, versus male and men in business. A lot of times that hierarchy is very natural in a male dominated structure, but it's not very natural with women. A lot of women don't function really well under that hierarchy. They function a lot better in a more of a common group. So the way to help support all women is to bring all women up, not just allow one or two or three women to rise, but when those women rise, pull everybody else up with them as well. And that's the community pillar.
Okay, I am clapping, clapping, applauding. And what a way to end with that last pillar, community. Because one thing that I really believe is that as women, I said powerful things happen when women work together. That's that community. We thrive together. It's no one person more than the other. Just like you say, you're that chief plate spinner, the lead cheerleader, head cheerleader, all those things. Even though those roles, it's like, but we're doing all of this together. I don't know more than you, but we can know more together. You know, I'm not better than you, but we can be better together. And so I believe that that's what community represents. When you come together, you connect, you collaborate, you're nurturing those relationships. And that's, I'm going to say LeadHERship Global, because that is a community. That is a community of women building together, rising together. And yes, there are so many other communities out there. I'm a part of International Association of Women.
Mhm.
Those are those communities out there. I have Queen's Court Society membership program that I just actually launched in January. So it's a growing community. But what I'm saying with all of that is, just like Kolleen said, that part of forget the hierarchy. We do so much better in community.
Mhm.
So find you a community. I want to say that's how we end. Find
Yes.
you a community or communities, because maybe you need this community for more of your personal growth. Maybe you need this community for your career, business minded professional women, or maybe you find one that's all encompassing or whatever that is. But you, going back to that wisdom, you have to define that success. Live your authentic story. Don't follow what someone else say. Define that for yourself. And that will be the most powerful place that you'll be as you lead your life, as you lead in your career, as you lead as that woman leader. When we use the word boss queen, with that, boss babe, all those things, but know what that role means to you.
Mhm.
So Kolleen, thank you so much for I told you we had a powerhouse in this space today. Oh my goodness. And she brought the power. So, Colleen, what would you say to us as we end? Anything you would like to say? Of course, you want to connect with Colleen. All of that information is in the show description. You can go to LeadHERship Global website, connect LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all of that will be there to connect. And if you want to learn more, know more, then you definitely can connect with Kolleen. So, Kolleen, do you have something with us before I say those final words?
Yeah, absolutely. So the last thing I want to share is just a little story about how we named Powerful Women of the Gulf Coast, why we named it Powerful Women of the Gulf Coast, because I think this really resonates into this conversation. So we were trying to name that organization and we started looking at what does that organization do? Well, it empowers women in business. Very similar to what LeadHERship Global does. I really believe that's been my mission for the last, 20 plus years is to help support women in business. So we were Googling, as you do when you're trying to name something. I didn't want to use the word empowered because it can be so overused in the women's space. So I looked up the definition and I was really shocked. The definition of empowered said it was a woman's movement. And that really frustrated me because I thought, you know what? Women don't need to be empowered. Women are already powerful. So when we named the organization, we named it Powerful Women of the Gulf Coast. And that's what I want to leave your listeners with is if you're listening to this, you are powerful. I don't care if you own a business, don't own a business. I don't care if you've made millions of dollars. I don't care if you're a woman or a man. You are powerful. And when you choose to not participate in community, you're not letting that power spread throughout the world. I believe everybody has unique, special gifts that they can add to a community. And when you keep that to yourself, you're not allowing our world to become better.
Mm.
So, community can help benefit those that participate, but you can help the community by participating as well. So, community can help not only with receiving the benefits, but also adding to the world and all the great things we're doing out there. So just as Coach G said, I don't care which community is, find a community, join it, and be active, because that's how you create measurable change out there in the world.
Yes.
And if you don't feel like you have anything to add to it, everybody absolutely does. Everybody has unique gifts and talents that they can add to any community just by being involved and being active.
Okay. You heard it. And I'm going to sum it up this way. Make this world a better place. I will play that song. I think it's by Diana Ross, where she said, make this world a better place if you can. And you know what? We can, because we have the power to do so. Thank you so much, Kolleen. Thank you for the valuable, powerful insight, the knowledge, the experience, everything that you brought into this space is very much appreciated. I'm sure listeners will love it. Sometimes it ignites things in us. It pushes us out of our comfort zone, because sometimes people don't make that move because, oh, wait a minute, you're pushing me out of my comfort zone. I'm good over here by myself, but you're not sharing your gifts with the world.
Mhm.
So it's time to make a change, and so I think with all of that, when we talk about overcoming those barriers to success, change need to happen, because
Mhm.
that's where growth is. So thank you so much, Colleen. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot keep continue. I mean, I will continue to say that. And you know what? You know what you can do. Go to the show description, connect with Colleen, learn more about LeadHERship Global. When she talk about the powerful women of the Gulf Coast, learn more about all of that, what those opportunities are out there for you, for that change to happen. And keep listening, keep sharing, keep commenting. I always say share the love. That's spreading, the throughout, what we do, who we are, and making the world a better place. I believe that's what we're doing, and we get to do that because we're stirring those gifts up and let them be used for the world. So, thank you, Colleen. Thank you, listeners. In the meantime, continue to share, sisters, because this is how we increase our visibility. And sharing your comments, subscribe, rate, follow, and saying all of that. Until next time, sisters, let's keep growing, because it all starts with you.
Thank you so much, Coach G.
Thank you.